Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, each week and each coming month, we premiere a new TV series and a new movie that are debuting here in Ireland for the upcoming month. And up for discussion this week is the season 2 of the much acclaimed drama slash comedy TV series Ginny and Georgia. After a huge successful season 1, led by the excellent Brianna Howley and her teenage daughter, played by the one and only Antonia Gentry, Ginny and Georgia is back for a season 2, and I'm delighted to be joined by one of the stars of the TV series. She plays the character Abby in Ginny and Georgia, the one and only Katie Douglas. Katie, first of all, pleasure for joining us this evening, and I suppose for you it's a very exciting time. January the 5th, we're only a day away from the world premiere of Ginny and Georgia, and are you excited as all the fans are?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's a very, very exciting time. I think we're more excited about it this time around than we were the first time, just because we know how many people are watching and that people are excited. So yeah, we're pretty pumped.
And I suppose, Katie, for people who haven't seen season 1 or haven't seen the TV series about in the past, it's based on the character Ginny Miller, played by the one and only Brianna Howley, a mother in her 30s, a bit quirky to say the least in terms of her backstory, and there's so many sort of personalities that run through her, and her sort of complicated relationship with her teenage daughter, Ginny, played by the one and only Antonia Gentry. Maybe you can enlighten our audience and our viewers a bit more about that mother-daughter relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people when they ask, in a nutshell, the show is about a young mom and her young 15-year-old daughter, and the dynamic that unfolds between the two. They have a very fun dynamic, and the mom might also be a murderer.
Okay. It's fairly simple, an age of discovery about the TV series. And Katie, can you tell us how the opportunity come about for you to get cast in the role as Abby? Were you in Canada at the time? Was it a sort of Canadian sort of production? And were you an original talent agent sort of role, or does something by fate come about for you to get cast in this production?
Yeah, I was in Toronto. It was funny. I got an audition for the character of Max, and I ended up getting a callback for that role, and I went back a couple times for that role until finally they figured it out, and they're like, no, I think she's a little bit more like Abby. So then I went up for the role of Abby, and I did a chemistry read with my castmates, and I guess they liked what they saw, and they cast us from there. So there was a bit of a process, but yeah, it was all very, very it was very quick, and it was very I don't know, it felt right.
And Katie, can you tell us a bit about your character Abby in the series Ginny and Georgia, for people who haven't seen it before? What's her sort of role in the series, and what type of a character is she? Is she very similar to yourself?
Yeah, I play a character named Abby, who is one of Ginny's friends. She's a part of the little high school clique that they call Mang. And she is a very flawed, seemingly relatable character. I've had a lot of people say that they felt really represented by the character, which I just thought was so cool. And at first I thought I wasn't like her, but the more you get to know her, I think she becomes a lot more relatable and a lot more personable. And as everybody knows, nobody's who they want to be when they're in high school, and she's like a great representation of that. She's incredibly confident but incredibly insecure, and she's just kind of coasts through her life with this sense of humor, and just loves her friends when everything at home is going bad. And yeah, I think she's one of the characters that people really really connect to or hate or like, because she's just so flawed.
Is she a rebel with a cause, as the saying goes?
In a manner of speaking, yeah, she's a rebel with a cause. We don't know what the cause is yet, but
and how do you like sort of playing those sort of fiery sort of teenagers that are sort of shooting back at sort of society and feel maybe that life is sort of maybe not giving them everything they sort of wanted?
Dude, those are the best characters, I find. I always find that those are my favorite characters. I really like playing them, and I tend to. I've played them before. I just think that they're telling stories that are very important, and they represent. I think everybody can like see themselves in that type of character. To answer your question, I really love being given the task to do that character.
And I suppose, Katie, in terms of the cast, it's sort of a strong femininity throughout the sort of cast, but there's a sort of an age gap. There's sort of young and old in terms of that interaction. You've got Antonia Gentry, you've got yourself, you've got Chelsea Clark, and then probably you skip maybe a decade or more to the likes of Brianna Howley, and then maybe another decade or two to Jennifer Robertson, who plays Brianna. How much is that sort of chemistry do you find maybe between takes interacting with Jennifer Robertson and Brianna Howley? Do you find it very sort of relatable? Do you almost feel like that you're the one niche, that one sort of click, or do you sort of notice the age gap at times?
Oh, not at all. We're all children. I think all of us are very, very like very much the same at heart, and we're all very goofy. And I've honestly never ever felt that age gap, to be honest with you. No, we're all very, very good friends. We get along like as though we were classmates.
And obviously, you're a young actress as well. You're learning your trade. You've been an awful lot of successful projects behind your works as well. But you almost see Brianna Howley in work, and how someone that's very normal in life can go and just click a switch and become a complete nutcase at times as well. Do you find that sort of fascinating as such, that someone can turn that on maybe just for a walking day and go home into a normal life?
Yeah, I think that's actually incredibly common. I think the most normal people are usually the people that have like the darkest secrets. I guess they say like if you're a successful psychopath, then nobody knows you're a psychopath. So yeah, I that's why I love her character so much. She's just so interesting.
Yeah, and I suppose, Katie, it's a busy time for you at the moment. Obviously, Canada, it's open up now. Vancouver and British Columbia, we know it's the heart of the sci-fi world, but many different types of new genres coming there at the moment. Have you anything in the works, maybe in Canada or maybe in the USA, that you've done recently that we might see on our TV screens here in Ireland in the near future, or a movie at the cinema?
Yeah, I actually have a movie coming out, a TV movie coming out about the Kara Robinson story, which I'm really excited about. I think they're honestly like releasing it today. So I can't wait for you guys to meet her as a person. She's an advocate for trauma survivors. So I think it's a really important story, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Okay, and obviously that is a great promotion for you as well. So it's roughly a hectic time with Ginny and Georgia. And I know during the past you have managed, maybe not with the COVID years, but you've managed to do a bit of traveling in your time, and you've donned our showers here in the Emerald Isle, as they call it, Ireland as well. And what was your sort of experience of memories of visiting Ireland, and what was your trip like?
Man, I was in Dublin on Halloween last year, and it was the most amazing Halloween I think I've ever had. I ended up spending the day at a graveyard. I can't remember the name of it, but it's that big, beautiful graveyard. And I met somebody there who I came to find lived there, and he was very, very interested in educating me about all of his favorite dead friends in the graveyard. And I had this little camcorder with me at the time, so I ended up making a kind of documentary about, I think he thought it was about him explaining the histories of the graves and the dead people in the graveyard, but I found him more interesting. So I made this little like documentary on the man that I found that lived in the graveyard. So I had the best time ever in Dublin on Halloween. And I will be seeing you very soon again.
You'll be seeing us very soon. Have you is that a visiting Ireland, or is that a working sort of project?
No, I love to travel. I would love to go back. I felt like I didn't really get to see anything outside of Dublin, so I want to spend much more time down there for sure. I'll be visiting.
Yeah, definitely visit the West Coast anyway, around Clare and the Cliffs of Moher, and the west of Ireland as well. An awful lot of medieval sort of castles as well. I'm just going to turn it back to you, Katie, as well, for the final sort of 30 seconds. And you might enlighten all our audience and listeners why they should tune in en masse on January the 5th to get onto Netflix, get onto their TV screens, laptops, phones, you name it, and watch season 2 of Ginny and Georgia. And what's in store for them?
Yeah, I think I hope everyone's really excited. Everyone who loved the first season will definitely love the second season. If you don't know, it picks up right where it left off, and we start to talk about some really important topics, and we really do get into it. So the idea is, I mean, I personally just hope that it provides the same kind of comfort that it gave everybody the first time around, which I think was right when the pandemic opened up. And I know that things are still hard, so I'm really excited to be there for people in the same way that we were last time around. And I hope you guys enjoy.
On that note, Katie Douglas, from me, Jim Conlan, an absolute pleasure talking to you on the airwaves this evening as we wait in joyful anticipation for the blockbuster release of Ginny and Georgia, and delighted to hear about a new sort of movie coming your way as well in terms of that TV channel. And you mentioned trauma victims, a very important cause as well, and no doubt we like to see you back on our shores here in Ireland in the near future as well. We do hope you sort of keep that sort of promise, but for the moment, Katie Douglas, absolute pleasure talking to you. For me, Jim Conlan, stay safe, take care, and God bless.
Thanks so much for talking to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, Katie.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Bye.